Have you been involved in a Virginia car accident, either you or your family? You've been injured or your family's been injured, and you want to call up an attorney, you want to get information, but you're intimidated, you're worried, you're wondering if it'll cost you money. You've got a lot of questions that are causing you not to make that call. Well, watch this video and we'll tell you why we think that you should pick up the phone right away. Hey folks, James Abrenio coming to you from Abrenio Law, your Northern Virginia personal injury and criminal defense law firm. Before we get started, here's our information, our website, our phone number, and my email address. So if you have questions, you can always reach out. Also, make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're doing our best to try to grow our reach, to try to grow our impact. Our goal is to provide constant and useful information to help inform as many people as possible and hopefully change a few lives. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. So in this video, let's talk about how you can speak to a Virginia car accident attorney. A lot of times I will talk with potential clients essentially later in the game, months, maybe even a year or longer after their injury case. They've not spoken to an attorney. They've either tried to pursue their personal injury case or they've essentially ignored it because they're worried about talking to an attorney. They're worried that that essentially overthinking it, and they're worried that making a call is going to be more difficult than it should be. And because of that, they've either not been able to resolve their case when it should have been resolved, or they're behind the eight ball when it comes to really pursuing that case and putting their best foot forward to try to get properly compensated for their injury case. So I want to first of all tell you that don't worry when it comes to at least Virginia car accident cases. Most attorneys will speak to you for free consultations. What that essentially means is you call up an attorney, they'll usually spend 30 minutes or more to spend time learning about you, learning about your accident, learning about your damages, to determine whether or not they think that you have a viable case. They think that your case is worth pursuing. And here at Abrenio Law, we will also spend time determining whether or not it makes sense to actually hire us. Because in some instances, in more simple cases, in injuries that aren't on the more significant side, so we're talking about broken bones, we're talking about surgeries, a lot of times it may not be in your best interest to hire an attorney. So what we will do, at least here at Abrenio Law, is speak to you for free to help analyze whether, in our opinion, it actually makes sense to hire an attorney. So that's number one, why we believe that you should pick up the phone and speak to an attorney. Now, the other thing that I get a lot is clients feel intimidated for whatever the reason may be. Maybe they've seen movies where attorneys are depicted as imposing or intimidating. Maybe they've worked with attorneys in other areas of law. Maybe they've seen prosecutors and dealt with them in that world. For whatever reason, they have this sense that attorneys are hard to talk to. And so what I tell people is, at least most good personal injury attorneys are down to earth. They're willing to speak with you in plain terms. They're willing to speak with you, quote, at your level. In my view, my goal is to use straightforward language. Legalese, in my view, I think is counterproductive, because there are attorneys that they seem to think that if they use big words, that makes them smarter, or whatever the case may be. And oftentimes it just doesn't work well, at least for the clients that I work with. We try to speak plainly because I think we appreciate that. And I believe most clients appreciate that as well, because this is a different world where terms of art oftentimes are created to help litigate cases. But when it comes to speaking to you, the client, to juries, I just don't think it's productive. So when you call, at least here at Abrenio Law, we will typically guide you through the information that we need. So sometimes I will get clients, they'll get on the phone and they'll immediately start telling me the story, and I have to slow them down for a moment because I have a certain format of information that I'm trying to digest and keep in my case file for clients that I may be helping. And it helps me organize by allowing me to ask questions. So usually the attorney will guide you through the information that they need. We certainly will. Now, that being said, if you think that there's something important about your case, and let's say I went through all my questions with you, usually at the end of that, I'll say, well, is there any information that I haven't asked that you think is important? Any information that you need to tell me that you think is going to be imperative to your case? If that moment doesn't ever arise with me, make sure to let me know that. I always tell people that you, the individual that suffered the injury, that went through the trauma that you went through, you're going to know your case way better than I ever will. So there may be information that I need to know that's in the top of your head that you want to tell me for whatever reason I didn't think to ask. I want to make sure that gets out on the paper so we are both on the same page. So feel free to tell me that information. I think most attorneys would appreciate that if you're going to be speaking with them. So if there's that important piece of information, just like when you're seeing a doctor, they may not ask the question that you think is important to ask. A lot of times that information is vital. Now, I always tell people providing documentation can really help talking to your personal injury attorney. Oftentimes I will ask clients when they've set up a call with me or they set up a meeting with me to either email me that information or bring it with them when they meet with me. So information that I like up front when I'm talking to a client, number one, photographs of property damage and injuries. Because if you're talking to me about a car accident case, if you're talking to me about an injury case, photographs, I think, truly do speak volumes. You always hear the term, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I absolutely agree with that. If you've received letters from insurance companies, whether it's the auto insurance companies or your health insurance companies, I think those are super important. There's other documents, obviously, medical bills that you received, police crash reports, exchange of information, documents you've received from law enforcement. But I also tell people, look, if there are other documents that we're not specifically asking for that you think are necessary, go ahead and provide those. Worst case scenario is I can look at it and say, well, I don't need that right now, or let me just put that in the file for later on. But the more the merrier, in my view. I would rather have a document that you think is necessary, I receive it, it ends up not being necessary, rather than a document that you think's not necessary, I don't ask for it, you don't provide it, and then I don't have that for later on. So absolutely, the more the merrier when it comes to that. Now, demeanor. When it comes to talking to the attorney, I always tell people be respectful, but that being said, they also should be respectful as well. I can't tell you how many times I'm surprised when somebody will call me. They've said that they've spoken to a potential attorney or they've been working with an attorney, and that attorney has either been rude to them or dismissal to them or non-responsive to them. I always believe that the personal injury attorney, in a lot of ways, should be like the ideal doctor. You want that bedside manner. I think that the person, at least in my view, somebody that's been through a traumatic event, as a potential counsel, want to be in a position where I'm being empathetic, I'm being respectful, I'm talking at their level, I'm not talking at them, I'm listening to them, I'm providing useful information in a digestible way, and I'm being polite and not rude. Same thing. I think it should work both ways. Just because somebody has a law license does not give them license to be a jerk. That's always my viewpoint. And so I believe that that's absolutely necessary. I also tell people, look, if you end up working with a particular personal injury attorney, if you end up working with us, this is going to be a long-term relationship. Most personal injury cases take at least months, if not years. And I always tell people that you want to be comfortable with that person that you're going to be working with. I always make the joke that we're not a used car dealership. I'm not just trying to make the sale and get you off the lot. What I don't want to do is overpromise on a case and then at the last minute underdeliver, leaving you angry about the situation. So a lot of times, of course, as I said before, I will be respectful, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat it. If I think your case is worth $5,000 and you think it's worth $1 million, we're probably not going to be the right fit. I would rather tell you that up front and you decide not to hire me because I haven't made some false promise, rather than me be beating around the bush, not being straightforward with you, and then you find out later on what my viewpoint about the case is. So it's going to be a long-term relationship, even if you're not happy. Like, let's say we talk, you're not happy with my evaluation. I would hope that I've delivered it in a way that you feel comfortable with me and feel respected, regardless of my viewpoint of the case. Now, in some instances, I actually may think it's worth more than you thought it was. But either way, I want to make sure that we feel comfortable with each other, because, again, it is going to be a long-term relationship. The last thing I'll say is, not every attorney is meant for every client. Not every client is meant for every attorney. Just like personalities of everybody is different, attorneys are all different. We're all human beings here trying to work together to reach a fair resolution. My goal is to, if I'm helping you out in a personal injury case, trying to get you as much compensation with as little stress as possible for the traumatic injuries that you've had to sustain, for the lost wages, for the emotional trauma. My goal is to maximize that recovery for you. But that being said, if we have to go through litigation, we have to do all that, that can be stressful. And so I want to make sure when you're talking to your attorney, if you're talking to us, you have a full understanding of what it's going to be like to work with us or that particular attorney. And sometimes it just doesn't mesh. Sometimes I will tell clients, look, I think your case is going to be difficult, or sometimes personalities differ. But I urge everybody, if they end up not working with me, to get second opinions. And I think most attorneys will do that. And I don't think it hurts, even if you're talking to us, to getting second opinions. Again, it's like talking to a doctor. If you've got a serious case, it's like getting a serious medical procedure. It doesn't hurt getting second opinions. In fact, we welcome that. My goal is not to have such an ego that I think that if you question me or my views on the case, that all of a sudden I'll break down and everything is for nil. My goal is for you to get the best information about your case, hopefully get the best advocacy, and ultimately get the best teammate, because that's really what we will be. So hopefully this video was useful. If you have questions, I urge you to go to our website. So let me do a quick share for you. What I tell people is make sure to visit our website. We've taken a lot of time trying to create this resource to help people out. So if you go to abreniolaw.com, up will come my beautiful face. But more importantly, of course, you can learn about us. You can learn about myself and Sharon, my main paralegal. You can learn about our prior outcomes and things like that. You can get our newsletter and client reviews. But we try to create this website for informational purposes, to provide you the ability to learn about your type of case and answers that how we would answer particular questions. So let's say you got a car accident case, go to our car accident tab. You can see here we've answered a bunch of questions that are some of the most straightforward, basic questions that we often get most often. And then if you go even further down, we've gotten into the weeds here. We've answered a bunch of questions about detailed information about personal injury cases here in Virginia. So hopefully we're wanting you to use this resource. We've created it for a reason, because we want to help you become the most informed consumer about your case and help you to reach the best decisions about your case, even what attorney to hire, even if that's not us. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have any other questions, of course, again, here's our information again. Go to our website, give us a call, shoot me an email. Also subscribe to this channel and you can comment below. Again, we're trying to grow our reach so we can help as many people as possible. So we wish you guys the best. Take care. And until we see you, best of luck.